It was like I'd never been away, except for when I had to go home. "Strange. King's taxis aren't answering," I said. "They went out of business. Here, call one of these," the manager said, holding out a plastic pot full of business cards. I pulled out a worn one and dialed the number. 10 minutes later, I waved my restaurant colleagues goodbye and stepped into the night. A long gray sedan waited on the forecourt, and I climbed into the back, opting to sit behind the passenger seat. The driver didn't bother to confirm my name or my destination, but he was heading in the right direction. So I settled into a tired slouch and looked out of the window at the vague shapes of barns and houses I'd walked past earlier. "Good shift?" asked the driver. Startled, I sat up and addressed the sliver of ear and temple I could see. "Yeah, thanks." "Busy?" "No, not really." The driver turned onto the narrow lane which climbed up to my village, and I again looked out of the window into inky blackness. "Busy enough for there to be a need for you, though." Well, yes, inside the cab was just as dark as what lay outside, but in the rearview mirror I could see a smooth forehead and dark eyes pitted deep in their sockets. They flitted away and back onto the road as I met his gaze. At the next junction, he took a wrong turn. "Sorry, you should have gone left there," I said. "This way is better, I promise," he said, voice vaguely accented. Every time he spoke, it seemed to alight on a different region. German, no. American. Or is it Polish? I kept quiet as he drove to the opposite end of the village, did a full lap of a roundabout, and headed all the way back to where he'd gone wrong, continuing on. I glanced in the rearview mirror to again find him looking at me. His mirthful eyes shifted away. At the bottom of his seat, where the backrest met the cushion, something was moving. I frowned, wondering whether my eyes were tricking me. But in the fleeting light of a street lamp, I saw the ghost-white fingers of a hand wriggling like maggots on a corpse. Stunned, I checked to see where the driver's hands were and saw them both firmly gripping the steering wheel. "Here she is, our sleeping beauty," my stepmom said the next morning as she leaned over my dad to pour him some coffee. He blinked as she stood upright again, giggling, before returning to his newspaper article. No amount of cleavage was going to distract him from a piece about the measures being taken by the automobile industry to reduce their carbon footprint. That was my dad, inert and unmovable, steady as a battleship anchor. "Morning," I said, directing the word at my father. "Morning, love," he grunted between slurps of coffee. "Is it?" asked my stepmom. "Is it what?" "Is it still morning?" "Yes." "Only just?" I ignored her and reached for a cereal bowl. "What are you doing?" she asked. I paused. This was how she operated, and it seemed she hadn't changed her ridiculous habits while I'd been away studying. What she wanted was a trial. My dad would be the judge, I would be the defendant, and she'd be the prosecutor. Any time she deems that I'm taking liberties, she pecks me into submission and forces me to ask my dad whether I could indeed charge my phone or do my laundry or use some of his toothpaste. Not today, I thought. I reached for the cupboard where the cereal was kept, grabbed a fistful of Kellogg's Frosties, and threw them directly at her face. I then put the bowl away, shouldered my handbag, and left for work. The Saturday shift was always busy and long. We work from midday to 9 p.m. in the restaurant before the manager sends us to the function room, where a wedding reception is invariably taking place. In the small hours, after we'd finished clearing up, I searched for a different taxi rank to use, but the manager informed me that this new firm had established something of a monopoly while I'd been gone. I could use a different company, but the wait time would be considerably longer. I yawned and looked at my watch. If I called the same cab rank as the night before, what would be the odds of the same driver turning up? Extremely slim, and my bed was calling me. I dialed the number. I swore under my breath when I saw the long gray sedan pull onto the forecourt. Foolishly, I got in. The driver regarded me with eyes that didn't exhibit the same level of shock as his voice did. "It's you. You drove me last night, didn't you?" "Yes. How nice to see a friend again. Did you have a good shift?" "I did. It was busier." "Ah, There's no better occupation for a troubled mind than busyness. Who says I have a troubled mind? Everyone has their troubles, said the driver. I sighed, thinking of my stepmom. All of my troubles seemed to be coming from her at the moment. What does she do to bother you so? Asked the driver as he turned onto the narrow lane. I felt his eyes boring into me through the rearview mirror and realized